Hello and welcome to a Be Smart About Art monthly Art World webinar video recap. My name is Susan Mumford and I am founder of Be Smart About Art. We provide inspiration, training and support to foster your creative and professional success. As we say, art is your life, make it your living. Our guest speaker today is Francesca Fiumano, and the session focuses on top art show mistakes not to make. Hello, Francesca.
Hi, Susan.
Francesca, it's really great to have you on board for this really important stuff about art shows, and indeed people do make so many mistakes. We're always learning, particularly in those earlier days. I'll give everyone a bit of insight about Francesca. I'll ask her about her background, and then we'll delve into three key areas that are based on the original full-length webinar that we ran on this subject. So Francesca is a London-based gallerist and curator. She is director of Fiumano Fine Art and more recently Fiumano Projects. She's been based at her gallery Marble Arch in London since 2001. She closely works with artists who are contemporary, focusing on individuals in the UK and Italy. And you can indeed see her at art fairs ranging from London-based ones all the way to Singapore. She's also a founding member of the Association of Women Art Dealers and is on the board of directors, which she has been on since 2012. So her aim in this video recap on the subject is to help save you time, pain, money, frustration, in terms of understanding what not to do at art shows. I dare say, as a fellow art world veteran, Francesca has learned many lessons in the school of hard knocks. So Francesca, before we get into those three areas, I would really love to hear just a few words from yourself about how you got into art and how exactly you do manage to do what you do in something that's not really a straightforward career.
Sure, thank you, Susan. Well, I'm very lucky. I'm one of the few people I know that always knew what they wanted to do since they were a little girl. I knew I wanted to open a gallery of some sort from the age of about 6, and I was determined to do it. So in pursuit of my dream, I studied art history at Reading University and graduated with a first-class honours degree, and then was invited to stay on to read for a master's in contemporary critical theory. Whilst I was doing my MA, I did an internship at Christie's and at Bonhams, and it was then that it really underlined my desire to run an art gallery and not work for a large institution. So before I had even submitted my MA thesis, I opened my first gallery in Connaught Street. And yes, Susan, you're quite right. I have learnt from that school of hard knocks. Everything I'm about to tell you not to do, I know not to do it from experience.
And I think the key is to think about when those things happen, learning from them. You know, sort of, I like to use the word lessons rather than mistakes, right?
Absolutely.
So let's delve into three key areas in terms of art show mistakes not to make. The first area I'm really keen for you to address is setting your own expectations of art show results. This could be in a gallery exhibition, it could be an art fair. I know that those are your areas of expertise. It could also be in a cafe, a law firm. It could also be a pop-up exhibition. So thinking about what people expect to happen at a show, considering the short versus the long-term view.
I would say the first thing to avoid is believing that you are going to have a sellout show. Those things do still happen on occasion, but I think it's much rarer than it used to be. You shouldn't expect your clients to just wander in and find you. It's all about the work you do before the show to make the show a success. There's no point in having a fantastic exhibition, whether that's at an art fair or at a pop-up show or in a cafe, if you haven't taken the time to tell everybody you know about the show.
Quite, yes, yeah, that's absolutely right, indeed. Now moving on to the second area, is in regards to putting yourself and your business at risk when you're doing art shows. Tell us about that area.
Well, we all know that running any kind of exhibition, whether it be an art fair or a pop-up show or something in your own permanent gallery space or even in your front room, it incurs costs. And because of the volatility of the kind of work we do, you cannot guarantee sales. You can make educated guesses, forecasts, looking at past events and how you fared. But my motto, especially I think when I do art fairs, because they are the biggest expense for me, is I can't do an art fair unless I can see the money that I'm spending as purely an investment in gallery promotion. If I'm relying on that show to pay my next bill, I would be very, very, very uneasy. Because whether you have a financially successful exhibition or not shouldn't be looked at in the short. It can sometimes take weeks and months after the actual event to make those sales. So if you're doing a show purely to raise revenue, you need to be very, very careful on how you're spending your money and that you are spending within your means.
Absolutely, and that is a golden nugget, what you just said, seriously, because too many people do that and they lose their businesses, they obviously experience a lot of emotional stress and so on. Now the third area that I'd really be keen for you to address as well is in regards to the publicity in advance of any type of show really, and what you think people should do in terms of their focus. So what not to do and what to do, and that's probably in regards to things like the whole quality versus quantity argument.
Absolutely. My big what not to do is to treat your clients and collectors merely as numbers. They're not just addresses on your database or in your address book. They're individuals who have either expressed an interest maybe in the show that you're promoting at the time or just a general interest in your gallery. Where I think a lot of galleries make mistakes is by sending out beautiful catalogues and wonderful emails but not personalising. A trick I learned many, many, many years ago is when you meet somebody, take notice of something unusual, either about the conversation or the setting, if you talk about your pet dogs or they've got brilliant bright red shoes on. Once they've gone away, I make a little note of that so that when I am contacting them, especially for the first time, I can say, "Dear Mr. Smith, it was such a pleasure to meet you, and what lovely red shoes you had on. Oh, and by the way, we're having an exhibition of the artist who I remember whose work you particularly admired." And it takes about a day. And you don't need to handwrite them. If you're sending an email, you can tailor one email for 10 clients. But just don't send out blanket emails and stock letters.
Well, that's right. And when we're in the art world, we're talking about quality here, and you certainly want to be making people feel special, but really meaning that as well. Francesca, there's just one little area I'd like to sneak in as well, which is what the mistake that people make about what they expect from an art show as well. I think a lot of people go in thinking, oh, I'll go sell everything, but I don't think that that's the only thing that people can really achieve from an art show of sorts. So would you just give a quick bit of insight in terms of that, what mistake to avoid going into an art show and what your expectations are?
I think the biggest mistake you can make going into an art show is focusing purely on sales, as you just mentioned. Whether it's a gallery exhibition or an art fair, you want to make the most of the whole experience. So, for example, at an art fair, if you just turn up every day, go to your booth and ignore everybody else around you who isn't a client, you're missing a huge opportunity to meet and make friends with and make connections with other art world professionals who could be your future collaborators, could be future sources of clients, or who you could source artwork from for your clients. So to me, I think the biggest fail any gallery can make in general is to be only focused on the bottom line. It's not all about the money. It's about a lot more.
And that applies to artists, curators, really anybody who is doing an art show. Francesca, thank you so much, because that was truly fantastic insight that I think people can use for the days, months, and years to come. And people at any level really do need to be reminded of those important facets of shows as well. Now, you're clearly experienced, and I know that you've got an ongoing and developing program yourself with the gallery, with your curatorial practice. So how can the audience keep up to date with yourself and the gallery activities going forward?
Well, you're quite right. We have a very, very busy gallery program. I don't know if you can hear in the background, my lovely gallery assistants are hanging an exhibition as we speak. The best way to keep up to date with us is to drop me a little email on info@fumanofineart.com, and then we will sign you up to our mailing list, and I will personally reply to your email, so thank you very much for emailing us. Also, keep an eye out for our Twitter, which is @FumanoFineArt. We're also on Facebook as Fiumano Fine Art and Fiumano Projects, and keep your eyes open, because we are one of the busiest galleries in London, so we're always doing something.
Excellent, Francesca. Thank you very much for your insight, and also for listening to the webinar today. If you are indeed tuning in, either live or watching the video recap, as an online organization supporting art professionals around the globe, I look forward to seeing everyone again at besmartaboutart.com. Be sure to subscribe to the mailing list for exclusive insights and offers. If you did find this webinar insightful, I'm sure you did with Francesca's knowledge, share the love on social media. So do copy us into your message that you send out on @besmartaboutart. Francesca, thank you very much.
My pleasure, Susan. Thank you.
Great. Until next time, we are signing off this webinar from London.